This week's episode is brought to you by Vaults. Not as good as Fallout's, but ours are cheaper. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling, geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident plot-armored protagonist of the pod, DL. How are you?
I'm great. I don't feel like I have plot armor. I feel very, very exposed.
Your liver is not
very
right
vulnerable. The opposite of plot armor.
You just want to curl up and have a little nappy now?
Yeah. I mean, look, plot armor is an interesting thing, right? Because you need it, but you also don't want it to feel too...
You don't want it to be obvious.
Yeah, too obvious. And so I don't feel like I'm overtly armored by the plot at this very moment as I drink my tea.
You have plot armor in this podcast.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
You're going to be here forever. I'm never letting you leave.
Yeah, that's fair. until 3 weeks from now.
Well, we're talking about the movie Borderlands today. More like Snorterlands. Got him!
Snorterlands? It sounds kind of... I don't think...
Snorterlands.
I think you were trying to say snore.
I did say snore.
I thought you said snorter.
No.
Snorer?
That's a different movie entirely.
Yeah, well, not really. That one guy's kind of like methy.
I mean, that's my one good joke for this movie, so let's run with that.
Okay. That was the joke?
That was literally...
Oh, God.
We're struggling today, guys.
Yeah.
We're both a little bit hungover. We actually went out for dinner last night together. It's sort of like an almost early farewell to you.
Yeah.
Because these guys, they're moving.
Yeah, we're moving to
You're leaving me, man.
The colonizers. we're joining them. Oh, man.
You're really low energy right now.
I am. I'm sorry. It's been tough.
We're going to bring it up, man. We got to bring it up.
Not very sharp today.
How have you been, mate? What's been happening?
I've been good, man. Just a lot going on. My house is slowly but surely kind of disappearing before my eyes as more and more things are sold.
Literally from underneath
Literally
you.
Like couch from underneath me. Like my partner's leaving and bless her heart, she sold it for a good price. Like, she's really being on it.
We could do with her to help
this
with
is,
us.
Yeah, this is not me making fun of her. Really, I do appreciate it. But
you've got 3 weeks left.
Yeah, it's convenient because we have 3 weeks left. So I don't know where I'm going to sit for the next 3 weeks. And she's leaving for a week of it. So she doesn't have to deal with these repercussions.
You have to think about it.
Yeah, I no longer can even have coffee. My coffee machine's gone. That's why I'm so tired right now. I have to boil water in a pot.
You make this a really big deal. Like,
dude,
a lot of people do that.
The people boil water in pots for tea?
I'm sure they do.
No, they use a kettle, which she sold. So I have nothing. I have no kettle. I don't have a kettle. I have a pot, like a pasta pan. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to like boil it and like pour it and burn my hand. Anyway,
it's like you're a poor person.
It's a tough life over it. In Bellevue Hill.
Problems happening over here. So what are you sitting on at the moment?
Well, I have that big lazy armchair that no one's bought yet, so I'll just move that in the living room.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you can't let your partner sit in it because she sold the sofa. Yeah. It's her own problem.
She always complains about
find somewhere new to sit. That's
she always complains about that chair, so she doesn't like her.
I like that chair. It's a big chair though.
It is too big.
I was really thinking about buying it off you, and then my partner was just like,
no, I was like,
absolutely.
I was like,
not.
dude, I don't think it's gonna fit in here. Like I barely fit in here with just this little chair, let alone this big lazy boy.
Hey. You've got loads of room over there. We're not just about touching knees right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, dinner was fun last night, man. Had a lot of
good fun.
Nice little time.
What do you think about the Saganaki?
It was hot.
It was hot.
It was very hot.
Rich and delightful.
You know me. I'm all about my health, and that was
that's not
the lowest on the health bar.
For sure. I mean, it's like honey,
I've never
butter.
had Saganaki before.
Well, they don't make it like that most places.
Oh, really?
I mean, they do heat it up. But like, honestly, in Greece, I didn't get a lot of hot Saganaki. It was just like honey with cheese.
Yeah, just chuck some honey on cheese.
Yeah, it was very underwhelming compared to Apollo's. But
a
in
good
general,
sherry food, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's a feast. It's meant to be shared.
It was quite funny though, because you guys have been drinking through the day. Yeah. Your partner was falling asleep by the end of the night.
We were pretty lit.
So much food.
Yeah, we were pretty lit. Ate a lot.
We came back and we'd eaten so much food that, yes, we were so tired, but we were almost lying there just like, I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. And then I woke up like at 6, like just sweating.
Oh my
Either
God.
meat sweats, hangover sweats, just a lot of sweats.
All in the middle?
Anyway, yeah, we're boring the audience with our libations and libations.
Guys, if you want to stick around and listen to us banter about our weeks, feel free. There will be time codes in the description, as always, supplied by friend of the show and editing genius, Mr. Matthew Bliss of blissery.fm. We'll give you his details at the end of the show. And while you're there, and while we're asking, and while we're talking,
Yes.
Well, it's just you and me. Just us.
Yes.
Just right now. If you wouldn't mind, it would be really wonderful if you could open the app that you're listening to us in. Just give us a 5-star review. DL, you've done that before.
100%. And apparently I've done it I'm the only one that's done it on Spotify. Everyone listens to us from non-Spotify.
We've got like 18 on Spotify now.
Okay.
We're doing great. We're also going to get the recruiters who are, to woo you. We're going to get the recruiters to give us 5 stars as well on Spotify.
Please do. Yeah. Please
if you guys could do it, it would really help us with things like algorithms, stuff we don't really understand. It really helps the pod out. We appreciate you. And actually, while you're there, we have an Amazon link in the description. You can just click that and buy what you'd always buy on Amazon. Anyway, we're not going to ask you for more stuff.
We are not.
DL.
Yes.
What have you been up to, buddy?
I have been up to a few things, man.
Ooh, tell
me. The Mexican on Netflix, it was leaving.
Okay.
So we're continuing our Julia Roberts run. This is the third installment.
Let's roll back a little bit.
Pretty Woman was the first. You can guess the second.
I
think I told you.
Notting Hill?
Yes, Notting Hill.
Okay.
This is the third, The Mexican.
Right, okay. So you're doing a Julia Roberts-a-thon.
We are. And they're all kind of, they've all...
Julie-thon?
Julia-thon
Roberts.
They've all been good movies. All of them have been good movies.
She's great.
Have you seen The Mexican?
I have not. I didn't even know it was a movie
it's
by
actually,
her.
I think you would like it. It's also got so it's Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts.
Bradley Pitt, you?
Bradley Pitt, yes. And who's the guy that's the Spider-Man newspaper dude? I always forget his name.
Oh, Jonah Jameson
guy.
J.K. Simmons.
He's in it too.
Him.
He's in it too. And the guy...
have you seen him? He is jacked.
Is he really?
He is Hugh Jackman ripped.
I didn't realize that.
I don't know if he still is, but like before he did a Batman role, he was Commissioner Gordon in Batman. He was giant, like as in steroided up looking. He was big.
I could see that.
For an old dude as well, like good for him.
I mean, I wonder how old he really... I mean, he is old.
Mid-60s?
He looks older in all his movies than he is because he's like very, very
I'm going to search for
old.
J.K. Simmons and you tell me more about this movie.
So, The Mexican, a man tries to transport an ancient gun called the Mexican, believed to carry a curse back across the border while his girlfriend pressures him to give up his criminal ways. And it's really just a movie about like Brad Pitt, who's got kind of like stuck in this, I can't get out of this criminal underworld that I didn't even want to be, I stumbled into on accident to begin with. And he's kind of a dope. Jeez, he is.
J.K. Simmons is 69, that's what he looks like.
Too much.
He's giant. He's a dope. Okay.
Yeah. So he's kind of like a dopey dope. He didn't mean to get into this, but he's kind of stuck in it. And Julia Roberts is just a kind of like crazy eccentric girlfriend who, they have their trouble while he's off doing this mission. The net is it's got a bunch of good people. It's got Julia Roberts, Brad Pitt, J.K. Simmons. I don't know if you remember Bob Balaban.
No.
He's in a bunch of stuff that like he's like one of those guys where you're like, oh, I know him.
I'm just Googling about, I do know him. He's very much that guy.
He's in a bunch of things. Like, I don't even remember. Apparently, he was in Severance.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know what
okay.
role he had. But him, and then most importantly, James Gandolfini from Sopranos is in this, which I did not know.
That's interesting.
And in a really interesting role. So I'll let you, I don't want to ruin it, but really good movie. Would recommend.
Bob Balaban. He is in the likes of Asteroid City, The French Dispatch. He's got some cool things names on his title. Was also in Wolverine, which I'm not sure is anything to do with the Wolverine. Actually, I see what this is. This is like a podcast series. That's interesting. But his face, he's such a that guy.
He is a that guy. He's in a bunch of like those like network television.
Yes, I like that. Cool cast.
Yeah, would recommend. Leaving Netflix August 30th.
Oh man,
so
we
better get on it.
We got to get there now.
Get on it now, especially because you'll lose your Netflix when I'm gone. Probably.
We've got it at least for the next 30 days, so we might as well watch it.
That was 2 weeks
Thanks
ago,
to the
so maybe not.
Yeah. We're really getting thin on the ground. You'd recommend?
I would recommend. It's
interesting.
And then I stumbled into the Jinx season 2. Did you know there was a season 2?
I did not know that. We talked about the Jinx a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we're trekking along in season 2. Season 1 was one of the most phenomenal endings ever. Have you seen it?
Wild. We talked.
Yeah.
You recommended it. We watched it.
Yeah. And this is like
the same guy it's following.
Yeah, it's like the aftermath of like what happened when he basically.
Well, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the Jinx.
Spoilers.
Long story. You tell.
He basically goes through this whole process of interviewing with this
because
documentary.
Believed he murdered.
Yeah,
people.
and like so he was using it as a way to like show that he didn't.
Yes,
but he obviously
he looked like a psychopath.
He literally looks like the devil reincarnate.
Really?
He obviously did. And like it's like all his lawyers are like, dude, you already got away with this twice.
Yeah.
There was 2 murders that were obviously him.
It's like he really wants people
and he got away with it
further.
Yeah, and he does this interview, and then like they actually they find through the process of research and everything evidence that was not found before that links him to the murder. Like undoubtedly that it was him. And so they present it to him live without him like knowing that it's coming.
Yeah, and he wigs out.
And he's like, oh no, it does look the same. Like it's like the writing of like the ransom note and the writing of something else he has sent is exactly the same with the same Beverly Hills misspelling. And he's like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Beverly Hills. Sorry, go on. I'm listening.
I gotta go to the bathroom. And he goes in and he forgets he's hot mic'd and then talks to himself in like a Gollum voice, like, of course you did it. I did them all. Like,
he full goes Smeagol on them.
He goes full Gollum. Like, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then, so you're dealing with the repercussions of that because obviously they gave that to the authorities.
But they couldn't use that because they could.
He consented to being mic'd.
That's actually true.
He's just an idiot.
That is.
He's just like what?
That's good if that's got a second season. That was on Binge.
Yeah.
So
HBO.
That's HBO. Right. We'll check. We'll definitely check that out.
Would recommend so far.
I think the partner really liked it. So, like, what's the fallout of that then? Like, is he?
I don't want to ruin it.
Is he going to prison or anything? Like, what's happening?
Like, I don't want to ruin it. But yes, it follows if you've heard what happened since, it follows.
I haven't heard what happened since, so that's good. I'll check that out. I didn't realize there was a second part to it.
Yeah.
But he has the eyes of a killer.
Black eyes.
The moment you see his eyes, you go, that guy fucking murdered someone.
That's so funny because Gail was like, I can't decide what I think because sometimes he's so nice. I'm like, he's a murderer. Yes, I've decided. It's like, let's not put you into like, a detective lineup.
Ted Bundy would take her away.
Yeah, you're prime target for Ted Target. Anyway.
So you'd recommend so far?
I would so far. What else have you?
Fabulous. We've done a couple of cool things actually. So we've been talking recently about the Gladiator 2 film, which is coming out.
Yes,
which
true.
Originally had this wild premise. We've talked about it. It was going to be Russell Crowe through time. He aged out of the role now. It's sort of like one of the young ones.
So they've changed it? I didn't realize that.
That was the original pitch years and years ago with Ridley Scott still attached. Now, so in the first one, Joaquin Phoenix is like obsessed with his sister who has like a kid.
Yes, little baby.
So I think it's the kid who's now the gladiator. I think.
No.
I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway.
Why would he become a gladiator? Your slaves are gladiators.
Look, doesn't matter. I feel like it's him. I'm not sure. Anyway, we went back. We watched Gladiator 1. Is the net of this because the partner really wanted to watch it. I've been getting good Gladiator vibes recently because we were like talking about this so much, and I'm like, yeah, I really want to watch Gladiator. We should talk about it. Really, it's really good.
I'm down.
It's so good. It's got some flaws.
It's long, isn't it?
It is long. It is long. I really like it. Everyone in it is good. Oliver Reed in this, who actually died during filming. The story around Oliver Reed dying in filming is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Apparently, he was a huge drinker. And he challenged like a whole bunch of Marines to like a drinking game and just died. Like he drank so much he was like, peace out world.
He perished.
I'll wait and tell the full story when we do like an episode on Gladiator. And they had to CGI him into scenes later on because obviously couldn't come back and do reshoots or anything. Wild. And Jimon Honsu's in it. The guy you were just saying is completely ageless. What a fucking good looking bloke he is. Like, I wonder how old Jimon Honsu is now. Like, he's
probably
not as young as you might think.
He's probably in his 40s or 50s.
Yeah,
50s probably.
I'm just going to quickly Google this. He's in loads of, he was obviously in Quiet Place Part 1. Sorry, Part 1? Is that what? No,
he was in Quiet Place Part 2.
He's actually, no, because he was in the recent one as well.
Yeah, but his first appearance was the prequel, second one,
I would say. He's 60. So when Gladiator came out, he was probably mid-30s-ish. So guy's aging like a fine wine. Is in everything as well. Good film. Highly recommend a go back and rewatch. We will come back and talk about it. Actually, I would like to talk about it with you. How weird would it be if Jimon Honsu was in the new one?
How weird would it be?
Gladiator 2.
And he just looked the same.
Exactly the same.
I mean, I forget what happens. Doesn't he die?
No, he's one of the ones that survives, I think. Pretty sure. Anyway, highly recommend that. We did watch another thing that I think you would actually really enjoy. It's a Netflix show. You know what Netflix is like? They will build like a doco out of most of a story and then be like, well, we might come back if this show does well.
Yeah.
They did one. It is called Unknown, and the parentheses, Cosmic Time Machine.
Yeah.
Now, the idea of this is that NASA have been building for about 30 years more a telescope, which is significantly stronger than Hubble, etc. And what it is, it's this huge mirror, gold mirror, effectively. What they have to do is send into space. They send it way out. You've seen it already?
Yeah, I've seen this, yeah.
So fucking interesting.
Yeah.
I had such a great time watching it. I was absolutely enthralled by
cool,
it.
Yeah.
And the thing that I found most interesting was it has hundreds, if not thousands, of fail points in it. So anything can go wrong at literally
it's like
any
folding,
moment.
and if it does,
unfolding, and anyway, so like they're sending this out into space so they can literally see back in time by seeing light from closer to the beginning of the universe. And it's so interesting.
Such a heady concept.
Such a heady concept. Such a fascinating look at this thing that really should have been cancelled many years ago. When NASA originally announced it, they were like, we're going to spend $500 million on this. And everyone like laughed. Because obviously Hubble was $5 billion. This is now way over $10 billion. And they brought in what I think is a German guy to get him back in line.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was either German or Austrian, and I was like, that's the person to bring in.
Yeah,
that's the person.
Sure.
I know he's probably the son of, like, you know, like generations down from a Nazi in some way, but like he's definitely going to get you back. That's pure speculation. I'm being facetious, obviously, but like if you're going to get someone to get you back on track, that's who you want. That guy. He was like,
totally.
We've fucking got this, guys. We're gonna. Anyway, brings it back on track. The whole thing worked. I was fascinated that the whole thing worked.
Yeah.
So it's only got like a 7.2 on IMDb, but I think it's worth a watch.
That's awesome, man. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, nice. When did you watch it?
I watched like probably 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not new. When is it from?
Like it's better than the last week when I looked at the SpaceX documentary that I thought was about SpaceX and wasn't.
Definitely not a SpaceX documentary.
No.
Anything else?
No. I mean, I saw the Rings of Power trailer.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, I have seen it.
The newest one?
Yes.
It's like just dropped. It's fucking badass, dude.
I need to watch the first season. We actually had a message from a friend of the show, Ryan, this week, who asked my opinion and whether he should go away and watch it. And I said that you highly recommend The Rings of Power. And I said, I watched about 3 episodes and fell off.
It's slow. The first 3 episodes are slow, but man, does it like pay off.
Well,
I loved it.
He was about 3 episodes in based on what he was telling me.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to drop off
well.
as well.
You know, that's your top. To be honest, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan and you drop off after 3, like it's your own fault.
Just get rid of the hobbits, man.
The hobbits are one of my favorite parts, actually. The parts I don't really like are like I don't even remember what it's called, but it's where like man used to be like immortal and there was this area where they went that were immortal. They go there. And that part's a bit boring to me, to be honest.
I haven't got that far, so I wouldn't know.
But
I did really like the elf dude who was in love with the human. And he was sort of finding the orcs were still around. That was cool. If that was the show, I'd be super into it.
Well, that's where it's going.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything, but like the last 3 episodes really pull it all together and get you amped for the next season. And the trailer just looks so good. Like the more time they spend with like the dwarfs and
not the hobbits. Yep.
No, I don't mind the hobbits.
I understand.
Why do you not like the hobbits? Just because they're female hobbits, you misogynistic pig.
No, it's the males I don't like. I don't like any of them. They're all. It's a weird subplot that doesn't need to be there.
Well, how do you know
on what's interesting?
How do you know? Because the hobbits always are involved.
It just wasn't interesting. I feel like you know what it was. That's the point.
The hobbits start.
I just feel like it was like shoehorned in because they felt they needed hobbits to make it a Lord of the Rings thing.
We'll find out.
I think they shoehorned them in. Because didn't they
after 3 episodes? You gotta finish it.
They found Gandalf or something. It's like I don't care. Like, have anyone else find Gandalf? I don't know
if it is Gandalf. We don't even know.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is. Let's be honest. Anyway, guys, if there's anything we haven't talked about that you would recommend, hit us up at podcastassemble or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. Send us memes, send us news, send us reviews. We love it when you do. Yeah. We also have a website, www.podcastassemble.com, where you can find all of our details and all of our stuff. I'm going to be getting back into YouTube stuff at some point soonish. I've got a video that I really, really want to do, and it's ready to go. So that should be up very soon too. So please check that stuff out. DL.
Yo.
Now, do you want to preface our main topic?
It's the main topic theme.
Yeah, our main topic this week. Honestly, we heard the terrible reviews and thought, can't be that bad. Can it? Borderlands? Well, let me just tell you. I'm numb.
You've become so numb?
I'm numb. It made me want to play the game.
Did it?
Eli Roth.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Director Eli Roth, who, do you know where he's from?
Yeah, so effectively he's got a history of edgy horror directing. So like things like Hostel 2005.
And he's the actor
and obviously from Inglourious Basterds.
He's the
Bear Jew.
Bear Jew, yes.
The Bear Jew.
Yes.
It's a great role for him. And it's like I'm going to talk about that in a minute because there's a lot of parallels between this movie and sort of a bit of James Gunnish a little bit. I'm going to talk to that in a moment, but this is obviously based on the beloved loot shooter that you were talking about, the Gearbox game.
Yep.
So apparently the original idea for this was that it was going to be a heavy R-rated movie, sort of because the games are, bloody and shit going everywhere. Like it's fucking shooting, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which would have been a hell of a lot more interesting than this. And seeing Deadpool and Wolverine doing so well in the cinema, I don't know why they didn't go that route with it. So we're going to try and do I mean, there's not a lot to spoil in this.
Honestly,
so we're just going to talk about this and then end up just tell you what happens at the end when we put spoilers.
and we don't even know if it spoils the game because we haven't played. So,
well, it tries. It tries to do a lot of things from the game. We can't spoil the game. We don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
but do you have a stupid plot summary?
I do. What did I go with this week? Fringe with attitude, eye rolls, and lots of Guardians of the Galaxy envy.
Wannabe.
Yeah.
Wannabe. Yes, I agree with that massively. Mine, I used my only joke at the beginning, so I'm not saying Snorterlands, by the way. Just remember.
Snorlands?
Borderland.
Yeah.
Wait, that's wrong. Borderlands, aka Snorderlands, fetch quest the movie where it's like watching a video game on God mode.
Yeah.
Everyone had the most plot armor I think I've ever seen, but the cast's pretty stacked, man. Like, you know, Cate Blanchett's in this. She's a bloody Academy Award winner. Kevin Hart's in this as Roland. It's got Jamie Lee bloody Curtis. I was looking at her IMDb before, and I think my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis performance isn't Halloween. I personally think it's True Lies. Have you ever seen True Lies?
True Lies, the vampire movie.
No, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's
a
secret agent.
way back when. Yeah.
And she does the old striptease piece. God, my God, that's a good movie.
I don't actually remember her being in it though.
She is. She's
the wife.
She's the wife in that, and effectively he pretends to be Arnold Schwarzenegger pretends to be like a insurance salesman having a regular job when really he's this like high-powered super agent who's out and killing people, and she accidentally stumbles across it, or she's looking for some more excitement in their marriage, so he introduces her to it and they end up on a mission together. It's a lot of fun. It's like a action comedy. It's classic 90s. It's like when action comedy was really, really good.
Oh yeah, here she is.
Anyway,
yeah,
Ariana Greenblatt's in this as Tiny Tina. Now you know Ariana Greenblatt, DL, from being the silent one in 65 Million Dinosaurs. Remember that movie we talked about?
I do.
She's also in Ahsoka. She's the kid in Barbie. She's
the kid in Barbie. She's had a run.
She's in this. Yeah, I'll say that much. It's got Florian Montejo, who is Krieg, and he's Drago's son in Creed 2, the big bad of Creed 2. But you'll also know him from being Razor Fist, which I'd forgotten that name, in Shang-Chi. So, do you remember that guy? He's got the big fucking Razor Fist.
I don't remember.
Jack Black's in this, Claptrap, and Edgar Ramirez is Atlas. Now, Atlas, I looked at his IMDb. He's effectively in a bunch of very average TV shows, and it really shows in this.
I was going to say, he looks familiar.
Yeah, I think he's in a bunch of average TV shit. It kind of really screams that when you watch him. It's, I guess my question to you is, a video game movie's dead again.
I mean, I don't even know if this is a good video game to like go make a movie out of.
It's a hard one to make a movie of. Because
it's just kind of like an explore fetchy, like open world game without like a framework of a story, but it's not like, Mass Effect, which has like a very story driven narrative from what I can see.
There's story beats to it.
From the research I've done. But
the one YouTube video we both watched. Yeah,
look, there's no video games that are back. No, they've been dead for a long time. All these movie adaptations, except for The Last of Us, which is a show and basically already a movie. It's like easy to adapt because it was a movie.
I'm trying to think of what we've talked about.
Like, what else has there been that's been good? Fallout, fair.
Fallout's been amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like good video games are more suited to TV shows. Because the story elements, you can play them out over a longer period.
Yes.
Like, video game movies specifically are pretty
You need like difficult. A tight, like Halo could have been a movie.
Yeah.
It's a tight plot. Like, you could do a movie with Halo, but other ones like these open world ones that are like long-winded.
Right.
Like,
too much going on.
Or multiple games that have multiple like stories that are not interconnected. It's like that. That's not a movie. That's like you make a show and you use the world to create a world.
Yeah. Build it long form. I mean, normally I'd start by sort of saying what worked for me in this movie, though. There wasn't really anything that worked for me in this. It's really quite hard to like express, but just saying it's bad is like that's not going to help.
I mean, how much of the budget do you think went to the actor?
Oh, a good part.
There's a lot of famous
120 million budget is high.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I guess for me, the thing I would say about this is it feels like any chance they had of building like a coherent plot seems to have been left on the cutting room floor because, I don't know, it feels very Madam Web to me. I know you went on our Madam Web episode. I did it with
Didn't see Madam Web.
You really don't want or need to, but you have to ask, how bad was the original cut that this is what they put out?
Yeah.
Like, like just the narration.
Well, I missed that
at the beginning.
I missed the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
Because I was on like a call for like a new job opportunity, and let's be real, like, I hate, you're telling me it was a narration start? I hate when they narrate
so much narration.
Unless it's like, they were all of them deceived. Like, unless we get like a Lord of the Rings level narration.
Yeah, okay.
All of them deceived. Deceived. And so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of like narrating at the start of a movie. Like, generally speaking, it's like a show don't tell kind of thing. Unless, of course, it's, Cate Blanchett.
Yeah,
but not this movie. When they were all of them.
I don't know what she's doing in this movie.
Deceived. Yeah, I can't speak for her performance in this narration.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? What's your take on, like, so you joke you turned up like 15 minutes late. You missed minimal. I don't think you got any more or less out of it than I did.
That's shocking.
Probably more out of it.
Shocking. I missed the first 15 minutes. I was 30 minutes late to the movie.
Yeah, but
I missed previews.
There's obviously
and,
15 minutes of previews.
Yeah, I missed previews, I guess, but just like to be clear, it wasn't like, I came in 5 minutes late with the plot. Like a good 15 to 20 minutes had gone by.
Yeah, right.
And while I was confused at points, I picked it up pretty quick. That's the basic premise.
It's a really basic story. And you know what it feels kind of like? It kind of feels like the studio saw like some executive saw Guardians of the Galaxy and just like ordered it on Wish.
Yeah.
Like, like we want a piece of that pie. And almost like Eli Roth with his horror background and sort of low budget stuff, I feel like they tried to do a James Gunn. Like, James Gunn started with Tremors. Like, he was part of that, part of those early low budget horror movie scene. And it just doesn't have any of the heart or charisma of those movies.
Yeah. And I don't know, like there feels like there's like a goofy element to Borderlands that like they tried to like embody in this. And I just didn't get it. Like,
same. And I really like the color palette in it as well. It's really vibrant. And this lacks a lot of that as well. Yeah. And I guess, we haven't really talked about the story, but I guess the story really is that Tina, and you missed this at the beginning, Tina is a clone of an ancient alien race called the Iridians, who knew the secrets of the galaxy. Now, apparently, they left behind a bunch of technology in a vault, hence the Fallout joke before you got that, under Pandora.
Yes.
And it needs a true Iridian to open it. So the point of the movie is that someone wants her to be the third key because she has this DNA in her that was found somewhere, which is fucking nonsense.
What are the two keys before?
There are two other keys that look like
I didn't even see that.
Sort of, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog's dildos. And they are just like scattered across this land, and no one
Pandora.
Yes, scattered across Pandora, which isn't that what they call it in Avatar?
Yes.
Which no one knows how to find, except they find them immediately.
I was going to say, I don't remember them even finding them, but they just had them.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Well, they had one already, and then they managed to find the other one. It's like people have been looking for these things for hundreds of thousands of years. It's like, how do they find them if people knew them already? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
boring me just hearing about it.
Really straightforward. Yeah, I just feel like there's nothing really compelling in this. Aesthetically, it's dull. Like, you tell me.
Yeah, I was waiting for Kevin Hart to be funny. He just wasn't. I forgot he's in this.
I was waiting for anyone to be funny.
There was about 200 jokes per minute from the freaking little robot thing that's Jack Black, voiced by Jack Black.
Yeah.
Which, one of every
Claptrap.
50 from Claptrap hit, and I would kind of giggle.
It kind of sounds like they just locked him in like a...
Yeah, and they're like, just be funny.
Yes, literally. Like, be funny
just
for this.
Ad-lib and be funny. You don't get anything other than like a few lines from the script, and you just ad-lib over it.
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
A lot of this was bad as well. Like the CGI. You know what I did? I made the mistake. I don't normally listen to other people's reviews before I do these things because I don't want them to inform what I think.
More than the 0% Rotten Tomatoes review
exactly. But
that you literally sent to us as a reason to watch this movie.
I mean,
Joe did.
Thank you for that, Joe, friend of the show, Joe. We really appreciate
you.
And
then bailed on the movie.
And then bailed on the fucking movie.
You fucking absolute slacker.
But I made the worst choice. I listened to the review of a guy called The Critical Drinker on YouTube, who you probably guessed from the name is just basically cruel.
Yeah.
He just tears things to pieces. And like, it's kind of like, it hasn't really informed my view of it because I was pretty dull on it anyway. But some of the things he pointed out, like how bad the CGI was, like the compositing of certain characters in scenes. So there's a scene when Tiny Tina is on top of a bunch of like stacked up cars.
Yeah.
And you look at that.
There's like multiple scenes like that.
Right. And
they're kind of like always in a junkyard or a mining.
But she's obviously not there. She's composited there. And it's, you look at it and you go, oh my God, that is so bad. Like, who thought it was a good idea to push this out without giving it some care and attention? It just doesn't have any love to it.
Yeah. And a lot of fringe. You forget the fringe. Like the flowing fringe.
The flowing, wafty fringe.
Yeah, waft. That's more what it is.
It's got a good
wafted
waft to it.
Bangs. It looks like she like put her head in a vacuum cleaner. It was like, it's like one side.
I mean, the thing that you're saying there, and it's sort of how I feel, is that there's a complete lack of stakes in this. Like, the hair is a perfect example, and like the clothes too, of the fact that they have so much plot armor, these characters. Like, they can be in like a big explosion 1 minute, and the next their clothes are just back to normal. There's no wear and tear. It's just it just carries on.
Yeah.
You just like, did you just change clothes in like the?
They did sometimes.
The locker room before,
and there was more cleave after every change. I realized
there was
a lot of cleave,
almost a necessary amount of cleavage in this.
I wouldn't say unnecessary.
I mean,
at this point, we would take what we could get. With this movie,
anything to make this movie slightly more interesting,
for sure.
It was a little sexualized.
It was,
especially with Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, all the older women.
Yeah, maybe Jamie Lee Curtis a bit too. I mean, she had more cleavage than Cate Blanchett.
Jamie Lee Curtis, no way. She was in like a fucking general outfit. She had the weirdest outfit on I've ever seen.
So these are all characters from the video games.
Yeah.
And in the video games, they're significantly younger peoples.
They are.
So it's very odd that they've gone with this casting. Like, obviously, like Cate Blanchett, like I say, she's an Academy Award winner. Like, of course you want a great person for this, but she doesn't bring the zest and the energy that you would get if you had someone.
And like Kevin Hart is like this like tiny little dude, and like the guy that in the video game is like this massive yoke guy. It is kind of weird. Like they got him in Oppo on everything.
I got a good bit of trivia about those characters.
Okay.
I mean, the other guy is yoked. The guy who was Drago's son in it's Krieg.
Yeah, no, he
was giant in this.
Very into the.
He almost looked like he was on the 300 diet.
Yeah,
he was like fucking shredded.
Or like the Mad Max like main character diet.
I mean, you make a really interesting parallel there to Mad Max. Like, the thing I find so interesting about this is that everything is so visually dull. Like, a lot of time they're just in a desert where there's nothing there, but not like an interesting desert, not like a vibrant Mad Maxy type feel to it. It's just like they couldn't afford to make it look good, so they just made it dull.
And it kind of feels like variations of the same set everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Even when you go somewhere new, it's like you're in the piss part of it, but like that isn't fun. And like the jokes, they're all dated. Like, I got it in my mouth. That's from like 2005. Like, come on, man.
When they like the pee or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just like it looks like a fun game. Like the vehicle thing seems to be a big thing in the game.
I don't know if
it's
it is.
A bunch of vehicles, and then we get like a little bit of that in the movie.
Okay. I think the interesting thing for me about this is, at first when we were talking about it, and like you were talking to me just even 10 minutes ago, I think I thought I hated everyone in this. But when I think about it, I don't think anyone was interesting enough for me to hate them. That's too strong.
Yeah.
They're all just fucking dull.
I mean, it just wasn't a very...
What was a defining characteristic of any of them?
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
There just wasn't.
Like, I guess like...
And the reason for them to be together was paper thin? Like...
Yeah. The coiffed hair lady, she had,
Lilith.
Lilith. She had an interesting, like, her only interest or character kind of core belief was like, she's jaded about her mom trying to give her life to something, which is like, okay, that's like something, but that's it.
I mean, like,
everyone else, I had no idea why they were there. Why was
you missed the entire opening?
Why was Meth Guy there?
Yeah, right. So you missed the entire opening.
Do you know why they're there?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
But I was still not clear.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The opening is that Kevin Hart is kidnapping, quotation marks, Tiny Tina from this space station.
Yes.
And I was never really sure why. It was sort of like he was just there. He was betraying, because he was part of the gang, the leaders. What was the leader's name again?
Atlas, yeah.
He was one of his guard or whatever, and he betrayed him to steal Tiny Tina. And as they were like going out, he like smashed through a door by accident, and Krieg kind of fell through the door and was just like, yeah, I'll come with you. Like, what? How is that a motivation?
I don't know.
Like,
it doesn't feel
you
want to
leave, and because in that moment, he's obviously a psycho. For something from the games.
Yeah.
He just like goes crazy and kills a bunch of people. And then it's like, oh yeah, I'll just be nice to you. It's like, why? Why is Kevin Hart any different?
Yeah.
Because he's Kevin Hart. Like, doesn't make sense. Kill him too. So like everything about the characterization of these guys was paper thin. I actually quite liked Krieg and Tiny Tina. If I had like the finest bright spark, which is very minimal, like at least they committed to their characters, they were full, even though I couldn't hear Krieg for the most part. But yeah, like I say, it was paper thin, and coming in 15 minutes late, it must have been so hard to understand what was going on.
It was a bit confusing. Like, and Tiny Tina, you're right. She committed to her character.
Yeah.
Her character is just kind of annoying, though.
Yeah. Yeah, she was so annoying.
It was like that cousin or like that kid in your family that like thinks confidence is, as you said, a personality, and I said it's like is attractive, like like is like is fun, and it's like
I know
actually
you found a 13-year-old
you're
attractive.
just annoying.
I could tell that from what you were saying to me in the film.
Oh no, I was saying she was the only one without cleave. I was like the 13-year-old's the only one, like everyone else has cleave showing. This is crazy.
Oh, brilliant. I feel like everyone in this was like acting in different movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
fair.
None of them seem to have like the same direction. Does that make sense?
I just feel like they didn't have a reason for existing.
Yeah, okay. It was all just flat. Nothing was like, and some of the costumes, man. I've seen better cosplayers than some of these costumes.
For sure.
I do like
even Cate Blanchett's like hair was like too much.
The hair was annoying by the end of it.
Just too much.
Not as annoying as Claptrap.
Also, like her hair doesn't look like that in the game. It's a bit wavy.
Yeah,
it's not like
orange,
like cotton candy.
Yeah.
And
it's not in your face the whole time. Like you're an emo in 2003.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it.
I don't know, man. Like even the action for me, it just went on for too long. Like the pacing was weird. It felt rushed and oversimplified some of the ideas that had some potential, but then at the same time, it just flew through the whole movie. I was like, I don't understand. Like it's fast, it's slow. Like what's happening here? It just felt disjointed, and I think a lot of that comes down to the editing. Like I said, like it feels like there was a movie here. I'm not going to say a good movie. And the studio butchered it because they wanted it to be, PG-13, so they could get more kids in to see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I just think like even the main premise of the games is like a bunch of bounty hunters going after this one thing.
Yeah.
And they kind of changed that too.
Because Cate Blanchett wasn't necessarily...
She was going after the kid.
Lilith was there for the kid.
Yeah, and then there was no bounty hunters going
we didn't really preface that particular. Lilith,
yeah.
She is a bounty hunter, and she is, paid by Atlas to go and discover the kid and bring her back because Atlas needs her to open his vault. And there's obviously the bit of the movie where everything falls down and Atlas finds them, and she says Atlas has a conversation. I'm so out of this. Atlas has a conversation with Lilith, and Lilith is obviously there to help them, but the kid sees it and takes it the wrong way. The type of thing that could be just solved if you just asked one question
before throwing the grenade.
She then throws the grenade.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I hate stuff like that in movies. It's so contrived. It doesn't have any placement. It's like, just ask her a question. Be like, that looked intense. What happened?
Yeah. I think that's like fair. I like that as a trope when it's like an immature character.
Sure. And she was an immature character.
So like I can do that as an immature character, or where it's like revealing someone's internal psyche or strife in a moment where they're extremely vulnerable and they say more than they actually mean.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and the other character isn't aware of the fact that they're in this like tormented state. And so they think that it's more true than it really is.
Yeah, sure.
That's a good trope. That's not really what happened.
That's not what happened. And the problem is that like Lilith doesn't really say anything in the moment. It's just Atlas being like, haha, I tricked you and you brought me to the kid I wanted. And then the kid's just like, you did this. This is bad. Like you betrayed us.
Yeah.
And it's like, she clearly is visibly distressed in this moment. Like just think for like half a second.
Yeah.
It's contrived and it annoys me a little bit when they try and do stuff like
and I
this.
feel like in the games they were, from what I saw in that video we watched, it seems like there's a bunch of competition between like big corporations, and we don't get any of that. We just get, it's kind of one dimensional.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're all sort of sold on this as you're going to be part of a big franchise. This is going to go off and be loads of other things.
Well,
I mean, it's not. It's definitely not.
It doesn't feel that way.
Do you have anything that you saw as like tones and themes?
Misfits. Found Family.
Oh, Found Family's so loose.
There's nothing else.
It's just like a hodgepodge of tropes from like bad superhero movies, and they just don't work together.
Yeah.
Just, I feel like they just want
pick and choose your shitty
pie.
trope. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. So let's do 3 best and 3 worst if you have them.
I don't mind her guns. They kind of reminded me
Is that a euphemism?
I'll leave it up to the viewer. I don't mind her guns. I also like one of them like looks like this gun in what was that game where it was like different, you could travel through time, and it's a first person shooter made by I talked about it a bunch. Anyway, recently came out.
Deathloop one?
Yeah, Deathloop.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool game. Really cool game. One of the guns reminded me of a gun in that game.
That's really thin.
Very fun.
Like
I'm reaching here. I'm reaching here, but it's also very like the kind of it does feel like they took that creative design from that game as well.
Well, they a lot of the guns in Borderlands are like a big draw of the game. They're supposed to have these weird and wacky different guns, and they just don't have that in here. Yeah, they've just got a dude who recognizes guns.
Yeah, well, there's like her guns were like revolvers that did cool things.
They did spinny things.
But that's it.
Yeah. Kevin Hart was just kind of had a gun.
He just had a normal gun.
The only best I had about this was that we are 100% never seeing a sequel. to
Yeah,
this.
that'd be great to
Never,
avoid
ever.
that. Yeah.
That's good. I'm happy about
Even
that.
if it came out, I wouldn't watch it. Sorry.
We would have to watch it for content.
No, I don't think I could.
We're here now. We've done it. We've
I
watched
don't
the first
think
one.
I
We would have to
could.
carry on. Do you have any worst?
The entirety of the movie. Of the rest of the movie. Minus the guns, the cleave, whatever one you want to think. I didn't mind the shredded meth guy.
The what?
The shredded meth guy. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy
Okay.
that looked,
Krieg.
whatever, Krieg. Yeah, he was all right.
He
He
was
didn't
all right.
talk at all, so maybe that's part of the.
I mean, I couldn't hear him for the
Yeah.
most part. I had the characters were the worst. The CGI was bad. And the lack of like a clear, consistent like perspective. There
Yeah.
was just nothing tying it together. The movie
Fair.
was just a claptrap of ideas.
Very well done.
See what I did
Well
there?
done.
Okay, let's do a bit of critical reception. So you know that this came out. It was 0% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's not now, but
What, it's gone up to like a low 4.
can you guess for me firstly the IMDb score out of 10?
IMDb. It's never lower than like 2, so I would say like 3.8.
Okay, it's 4.3, which I think is really nice.
That's really high.
Yeah. Okay, well, Rotten Tomatoes. Let's get this back on track. It was
11%.
9%. Sub 10 is like bad.
I've never even heard of. Yeah.
Never ever. And finally, Letterboxd, which is always 3.6, but never 3.6.
Oh man, 1.8.
Oh, it's 1.7.
Oh,
You were pretty close there. I like you did that. I like what you did. And now what we do is we do our rating system, which is, because the internet's binary, we just say, is this better or worse than a really, really average movie, which is Aquaman 2018?
yes,
and why?
it is. It's a rare better. I mean, sorry, a rare
Wow.
worse.
Bro.
A rare worse.
I was really worried for a second.
You're
there.
like, what are you talking about, bro? No, yeah, it's not very good.
Did you give Twisters worse as well?
That's a good question. I don't
think you
remember. I
did.
think I might have. Yeah.
I think you did.
I don't
Why
really-
do you think it's worse? Because Aquaman is like a lot of these things. Bad
I think I
CGI.
gave Twister worse,
Okay.
and I gave Twisters better. I don't
Interesting.
know, Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think it is worse.
Okay.
I think it is worse.
Is this better or worse than the original?
This is worse than the original,
Interesting.
and it is worse than Aquaman 2018. Yeah, I think it's.
I mean, similar. If you think about Aquaman, the things you disliked about Aquaman, so obviously the bad CGI, the lack
Everything.
of
There's a lot of
characterization.
similarities,
Yeah,
but this has Jason Momoa, or that does.
it
And-
does. Who has
this-
all the charisma in the world?
and this doesn't.
yeah,
Jason Momoa and Guinness. I like
Yeah,
those
it
both.
does have
I like
Guinness.
both of those things.
I like both those things.
And as far as Cleve,
Oh, yeah,
nothing crazier than what's her name?
shitting on a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go there, let's go there. That's what I'm
I
saying.
personally think it's worse than that too. Like everything,
Yeah.
it just numbed my brain watching this. I felt like I came out of this stupider than when I went in.
Yeah, and like frankly,
And $30 down,
I was.
which I still haven't seen. Pay me my goddamn money.
I don't know.
Pay me
I
my
feel like
money,
I
bitch.
should be paid
Pay me my money, bitch.
to go see this movie. Anyway, the most things are better in Aquaman than
Yeah.
what this is.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there isn't much to spoil in this, let's be
she's-
honest.
like we're going into spoilers. It's
Cate Blanchett is the key.
surprising.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
That old trope. The old switcheroo, and then she turns into a fire angel for some
A
reason.
Phoenix, but apparently she's like that in the game the whole time.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
like
think
her
that's the
race.
thing. Yeah.
They just they changed it. She's not actually Iridian or whatever
Yeah,
in the
okay.
game.
They leave the bad guy Atlas in the vault, which I kind of like. That's
I like that for him.
sure.
He wanted to go there.
He
Now
wanted-
he's there. I don't mind that.
I like that for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. What else is
Yeah.
there to spoil?
Well, what was the secrets of the world?
That
It
Lilith-
looked like just like a squid.
Oh, I guess the other thing was
There was like
What is
they
in
opened the
that
vault and
vault?
there's just like a squid and they're like, this is the secrets of the world. And then like the squid just kills
how
him.
did they make guns from those cubes that were in there? It was just full of cubes.
Is that what they did?
Shiny cubes.
They made a bunch of guns. Yeah.
The whole point is that so Atlas's team found the vault originally. They reverse engineered
Guns.
weapons to become the best weapons manufacturer, and then they lost the vault, I think.
But if they have the best, why do they even need to find it again?
Because other people are good. I don't fucking know, man. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Can we
Okay.
stop?
Yeah, we can stop.
Lilith's mum actually did love her. She wanted to send her away so Atlas couldn't use her to open a vault.
It was like to protect her or something.
Heart-wrenching, it was not.
Yeah.
Let's just do trivia true or false. Do you want to do trivia true or
Sounds
false?
good.
Okay, trivia true, trivia false DL. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was originally cast as Krieg, but pulled out because being a psycho meant his face was intended to be covered for the whole movie, and Johnson couldn't agree on contract terms. Is that true or is that false?
That feels true.
I made it up. You fell into my trap.
That was a good one. I just hate Johnson, so maybe I'm like...
I mean, it sounds about right, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, it sounds
like
it sounds. I was like, I believe you.
Right. And it actually sounds like a Dwayne The Rock Johnson story. So, and plus Kevin Hart's in it, so it made it easy for you to believe. I just picked up a lot of things that I thought you would fall for. You fell for my trap, big guy.
Well done.
Trivia true, trivia false, DL. Cate Blanchett explained why she joined the film. She explained that I was really absorbed into the world, and also may have had a little COVID madness.
And also...
Is that true or is that false?
Also got paid a shit ton of money.
Probably got paid a shit ton of money.
I would say that that feels true.
It is true. Her husband apparently told her that film could save her life because she was doing too much gardening. You know, I mean, everyone was a bit wired in COVID, so I can see why you'd be like, okay, it's guns and shooty, like, let's do something different.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Totally.
And I mean, I feel like there probably was something a different direction to this when it started. Okay, trivia true, trivia false, DL. In 2015, when this film was originally began pre-production, upcoming Alien Romulus director Fede Alvarez was originally going to be the director of the movie. Is that true or is that false?
True.
Actually false. It was going to be Lee Whannell who did Saw and Insidious. Why would you know that? I don't know. Just in case.
Just a 50-50.
I wanted to throw in Fede Alvarez for this because we're going to be talking about Alien Romulus next week, hopefully with friend of the show Reeks, if you can join us.
Got it.
Trivia true, trivia false, DL. Finally, filming of this was completed before the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strikes. True or is that false?
Filming was completed before or after?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would have to be... no, I guess it could be after.
I want to put this in there
True.
because that's true.
Yeah.
So this was this bad before the strikes. This wasn't affected by the strikes. This is just bad.
There's plenty of bad movies without the strikes. Like the Game of Thrones stuff is one thing, but this is a whole nother beast.
This is a whole nother level of rubbish.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for sticking with it. We really appreciate when you do. Though the film wasn't great, I've had a lot of fun talking with you about it, DL. It's just wild.
Sometimes that's all you want.
Sometimes you just need a good chat with your mate about something rubbish. Do you want to wrap up the show, big guy?
I do. I'm tired. A big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering this week's episode. And if you'd like Matt to be part of your podcasting team,
why wouldn't you?
Get in touch, man, on business@mbpod.com or head to mbpod.com to find out more about his services. If you want to hear his work, listen to Coffee with a Podcaster. Short thought pieces on topics of podcasting shared over a cup of coffee. I could use one, but I sold my coffee maker.
Wholesome content, guys. I might give Matt and team a 5-star review.
Please do.
He has some fantastic content, and just like you're going to do for us. So, you know, you can...
We need it.
Where can they find us, DL?
They can find us at thepodcastassemble on at gmail.com. Or they can find us at thepodcastassemble@gmail.com or podcastassemble on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. We have a YouTube channel. There's so many places.
We have so many places and so many things to update.
So many things.
So many things.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to help with that stuff, reach out. Because I am really
looking for volunteers.
Right now. Anyone who wants to help, we are down. Guys, thanks for sticking with it. We really appreciate it. DL?
Until next time.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Wee.